Hey, I'm excited that you're joining me this evening. I've got a fantastic buttermilk biscuit recipe. So fabulous, easy breezy, you're gonna love it. And it's not gonna be hard, you're gonna be able to do this. And so I'm gonna give you the recipe, I'm gonna show you how to do it. It's a great recipe, you can just utilize it as buttermilk biscuits, but you can modify it. If you want them a little sweet, you can add sugar. You can add raisins, cinnamon, you can put a glaze on them. You can do whatever you want with this recipe. Savory, add a little cheese, add a little bacon, whatever you want. This recipe is going to be fabulous for breakfast, brunch, or dinner. So let's get started. I've already preheated my oven. It's at 450 degrees. I've got 2 cups of self-rising flour already measured in this bowl. And I like mine a little sweet, even just regular biscuits. So I put a tablespoon of sugar in it. You can add sugar or you can leave it out. But we're going to start with 2 cups of self-rising flour. Now this recipe is going to be at the end of the video and also on my Classic Home Cooking page. So if you don't get everything at once, don't worry about it. The recipe will be available. So we've got 2 cups of self-rising flour. I've got 1 cup of buttermilk, and I have 1 stick of butter that I've melted and I've allowed it to cool. And here's the magic. What you do with the buttermilk, you want to put it in your cup and then put it in the freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes. You don't want it frozen, but you want it icy cold. And if it gets a little ice crystals on it, that's even the better. So measure out your buttermilk, put it in the freezer, melt your butter, let it cool down, because here's where the magic happens. We're going to take this icy cold buttermilk and we're going to pour it in to the melted butter. So let's do it and see what happens. Now, look at that. We've got this buttermilk and we've got this butter, and the butter is crystallizing. It's getting little granules of lovely butter beads in there. And what this is doing, this is saving you a step. You don't have to cut the butter into the flour, so that once this is all combined together, you're going to have these little bubbles of butter all throughout this biscuit. And when the heat hits it, it's just going to explode into these beautiful layers. How easy is that? So we've got our 2 cups of flour, we've got our butter and our buttermilk mixed together, and you just want to kind of stir it up real good. You're going to see those chunks of butter. All of that's mixed up together really good. Now we're going to pour it and add it all in there together. Just look at that. Okay, now we're going to mix up the flour and the buttermilk. You don't want to stir. You want to kind of fold it, because you just want to incorporate all of this together. You're kind of folding and mashing. You're kind of kneading it a little bit right in the bowl. Oh, it smells so good. I mean, what could be wrong with butter and buttermilk? This is not your low-calorie biscuit recipe, all right? But every now and then you got to have those extra calories. You want something that tastes good, comfort food. This is going to be so good. Your family's going to love it, and they're going to think that you just stayed in the kitchen for so long. This is going to make about 6 to 8 biscuits. So if you've got a bigger group, I'm just forming this into a ball, as you can see. Now, we've got it all mixed in together really good, and I've got a little bit of flour here I'm going to put on the counter. I've got my biscuit cutter ready. The hardest part about making these biscuits is going to be finding a biscuit cutter. I went to several places, but don't worry, if you don't have a biscuit cutter, a glass will work fine, a cup, whatever you have that has a diameter the size of the biscuit that you want. But evidently people are not making biscuits very much anymore, so finding a biscuit cutter was a project. But I did find them at Bed Bath & Beyond. So look, we've got our beautiful dough all comprised together. I've got it rolled out. You want to knead it just a little bit, not too much, because again, the key to having really fluffy biscuits is not to handle it too much, because we don't want those wonderful butter crystals that we've incorporated into these biscuits. We don't want it to melt before we get them in the oven. So rolling this, we don't want to roll it flat. We just want to get it about 1 inch. And you've got your biscuit cutter or glass, whichever you have available. Trust me, nobody will know. So now we're going to just cut our biscuits. You don't have to flour your pan. Got my cookie sheet, baking sheet ready to go. You don't have to flour it. You don't have to spray it or anything. We've got a stick of butter in these biscuits, so they've got enough oil, and they're going to be fine. You want to place them, maybe about an inch apart. Looks like we're going to get about 8 biscuits, which is good for this recipe. Just cutting our biscuits. You have these little scraps that are left. You just want to knead them together into their own little ball. Maybe put a little flour on it. And then you can cut right through that and make a biscuit as well. You don't have to throw away any of that. That's going to be a nice big biscuit. We've got a little bit left. Looks like we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. We're going to have 9 biscuits left. An odd number, but that's okay. It'll be the one that you can sample. How about that? So there we go. We've got our biscuits all ready. Get my hands wiped here real quick. Now, got these biscuits ready to go into the oven. They look absolutely beautiful. Before we put them in the oven, one of the things that I like to do, I like to put a little butter on before we bake them. I like to put more butter on after we bake them. So we're going to just brush the tops of them real lightly with a little bit of butter. Then, after we're done, we're going to put these in the oven for about 15 minutes. We're going to put it on 450. I recommend that you start checking these biscuits at about 10 minutes, after they've been in for about 10 minutes. Oven temperatures vary, so you don't want to get them too dark. You want them golden brown, 10 to 15 minutes. They look lovely. They're ready to go. I'll see you back in about 15 minutes. Oh my goodness, these biscuits smell so good. I can't wait to try them. They just came out of the oven. They're piping hot. Everything did what it was supposed to do. If you look at these beautiful biscuits, look at that. Look at those layers, those buttery layers that we've created. I've got a little bit of melted butter. I told you I like to put butter on them before and after. So we're going to brush these with a little bit of butter. Just come out of the oven. They're going to be just the aroma. I can't begin to tell you. The comfort food. We sometimes think biscuits are just for the fall, but you can make biscuits anytime. Sausage gravy, biscuits and biscuits, whatever, Man cannot live by bread alone, but, we can try. We can try because biscuits is the bomb. So, look, we've got this bowl ready. I know Papa's waiting. He's been smelling these biscuits, but I'm going to be the first one to sample these because I know they're just delicious. Look at that. Look at that flaky layer. Look at that flaky layer. I'm just going to dip it right into that butter. Flaky, buttery, just a little bit of sweet. You've got, excuse me, I'm swallowing, talking. You've got to try this recipe. I have lots of recipes in my cookbook, Classic Home Cooking with Dora Sanders Hill. Be sure to order the cookbook. You can find that also on my Facebook page. And if you have enjoyed this segment, please share my video. Please like my page, give me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you again on Classic Home Cooking with Dora Sanders Hill.